New Mom, CBS Tonight.
Of Naval Base Point Loma right now. According to the base, it's currently in lockdown because of a suspicious person. Now, we do have Chopper 8 overhead as well as a ground crew there. Right now, you are looking at a live scene from our ground crew. Here's what we know. All personnel on board the installation are being directed to seek shelter in the nearest building and activate lockdown procedure. They're urged to remain indoors until further instruction is received. This all began shortly after 12 o'clock. People are being warned to stay clear of the base until further notice. And here is an overhead look from our Chopper 8. Again, a lockdown at Naval Base Point Loma because of a suspicious person. Our crews will remain on the scene. We are working to gather more details, so we will continue to update you right here on News 8. You can also go to our website, that's cbs8.com, and the News 8 San Diego app. Again, this is breaking news out of Naval Base Point Loma.
About it. I can only think of one person.
If you're just joining us online, we're coming to you live from the News 8 newsroom. We have some breaking news to share with you right now out of Naval Base Point Loma, specifically North Harbor Drive and Landing Road. There are reports of a suspicious person in the area. So right now, the base is currently in lockdown because of that suspicious person. You're actually looking at some ground video right now. You can see U.S. Navy police as well as other law enforcement had gathered, and they're trying to assess the situation. Now, we know, or at least we are getting reports that Harbor Drive is shut down as a result of this. So you're going to see a lot of law enforcement activity in the area. According to the base, at this point, this is the information they're sharing with us via their Facebook page. They've been updating the public with some Facebook posts. And according to their page, all personnel on board the installation are being directed to seek shelter in the nearest building and activate lockdown procedure. They're urged to remain indoors until further instruction is received. This all began just after noon. People are being warned to stay clear of the base until further notice. And this is actually an overhead shot from Chopper 8. Again, you can see law enforcement personnel gathering on the base.
Hey, what's
This
up?
is out of Naval Base Point Loma, North Harbor
Copy
Drive,
that.
and Landing Road. And we also had another Chopper 8 shot just a few minutes ago showing a harbor police boat. It appears to be a harbor police boat in the area also. So they're not giving us too many details. They have confirmed there's a lockdown, and this is all because of a suspicious person. We have crews on the scene, and of course, we have Chopper 8 overhead. So if you do see some police activity in the area, that is what we can share with you right now. We will continue to stay here online and on the News 8 San Diego app and keep you updated with the very latest. I've been looking on Twitter and Facebook, and there's been some mentions, but again, information is slow to come, which is pretty common when something like this happens on a military base. It's sometimes difficult to obtain some information, although officials there have confirmed there is a lockdown. And by the looks of it, they seem to be gathered right now to possibly meet about what is going on over there or come up with a plan. It's hard to say at this point from this vantage point. We know that no one is being allowed out. No one is being allowed on the base. And again, we are getting reports that Harbor Drive is currently shut down. So there's a lot of activity in the area. We can't tell you much about this suspicious person, if they were possibly seen with a weapon or not, if they were actually on the base or near the base. We are going through social media postings. We have also made several calls to the military, and right now we're just trying to gather as much information as we can so that we can share that with you here online. So again, Chopper 8 overhead. We have been asked to clear the area, so we won't have the helicopter shot for too much longer as we look into this story, but we do have a couple ground crews out there, and they will continue to keep us updated with any information they can give us. And of course, we will share that with you both here at CBS8.com and on our News 8 San Diego app. So stay with those to get the latest information on this situation, and we'll try to gather all the details we can.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, we're coming to you live again from the Channel 8 newsroom. We've been following this story for a little bit now, and just to recap for those who are joining us, we have breaking news out of Naval Base Point Loma right now. That is at North Harbor Drive and Landing Road. We're getting reports that there is a lockdown on base because of a suspicious person. This information has been confirmed by the base. We know that Harbor Drive is shut down. And just to recap what's going on there, all personnel on board the installation are being directed to seek shelter in the nearest building and activate lockdown procedure. They're urged to remain indoors until further instruction is received. Now, this all started around noon today, so just over an hour and a half ago, people are being warned to stay clear of Naval Base Point Loma. In fact, Harbor Drive is shut down. Now, the base has actually been posting on their Facebook page some updates, and I want to read to you the latest update they posted. The Patrick Wade CDC and Gateway Youth Center have secured from lockdown. So parents may now pick up their children from these locations. For a little while, parents were told they could not go pick up their children, and now they're being told that they can. They also say on their Facebook page, we just took it down, but let me go back to their post. It says, and this is quoted from their Facebook page, Harbor Drive remains on lockdown. This is a real world event. Report any suspicious activity to 911. Remain indoors until further instructions are received. And what we gather from that is this is not a drill. Oftentimes on these bases, they do drills, and you see a lot of personnel, a lot of law enforcement in the area. But this is a situation where this is a real life situation where the base is on lockdown because of a suspicious person. Now, at this point, they're not giving us many details, which is pretty common when something happens on a military base. You're actually looking at ground video right now, U.S. Navy police just speeding into the base. So they haven't given us many details regarding this suspicious person, whether this person was seen with a weapon, whether they were actually on the base or near the base, but we can confirm that there is a lockdown on the base. And from this ground video, you can see a lot of law enforcement has gathered. We've seen NCIS on scene. We've seen Harbor Police. So in addition to other law enforcement agencies, we've seen them gather, and it appears as though they're having some type of meeting or they're going over what's going on base before deciding their plan of attack. But again, we don't know about this suspicious person. We don't know the specifics, if they had a weapon on them or not. We do know the base is on lockdown, and it's been this way for about 90 minutes. Now, I know some of you have been asking some questions on Facebook, so we're going to try and answer as many questions as we can, but bear with us because, again, the details are coming in slowly. So we're just sharing what we can confirm, and we are confirming details at a snail's pace, just based on what the military is able to provide us. So I'm just looking at the Facebook page, the CBS 8 Facebook page. You can follow along there, or here on CBS8.com, or on our News 8 San Diego app. So I'm just going through here to see if there are any questions I can answer for anyone. Someone asked, isn't anyone in that area suspicious? I'm not sure if that was a serious question or not, but apparently the reason for this lockdown was serious enough, based on whoever this person is, to shut it down and go into lockdown mode. So I'm going to scroll through here and see if there's any other questions or commentary that we can talk about. Someone's just asking us what's going on. Again, if you're just joining us, there's a lockdown at Naval Base Point Loma that is at North Harbor Drive and Landing Road. If you find yourself headed in that direction, North Harbor Drive is shut down at the moment, and you will be seeing a lot of personnel there.
Just a relocation.
And just the relocation.
Set the location.
Tom Davis is saying it's the Fleet ASW base near the airport. So if you're familiar with the base, because I understand there's a lot of different facets to Naval Base Point Loma, if you are familiar with that area, according to Tom Davis, that is on our Facebook page, he says it's the Fleet ASW base near the airport. And let's see, do we have any other questions here? Anything, any information we can go off of? Okay, somebody is saying, did I just say Harbor Drive was shut down? Doesn't look like it to me with all the cars still driving along. According to the base, Harbor Drive is shut down, but just a portion of it. So you may be in an area that's not being impacted by this shutdown. So I'm going to work on figuring out where exactly on Harbor Drive is shut down. But according to the base officials, they have confirmed that Harbor Drive is shut down right now. So we'll work on getting specific street names for that. And we are going to continue to work here in the newsroom on getting you the very latest details. So we'll come back with some more updates. In the meantime, you're looking at a live shot from the ground outside Naval Base Point Loma. And just stay with us right here on CBS8.com and also the News 8 San Diego app for the very latest details.
You drop off a light
We're coming to you live again from the Channel 8 newsroom, where we've been following some breaking news for the past 90 minutes or so. There's been a lockdown at Naval Base Point Loma, that's near North Harbor Drive and Landing Road. And we want to give you an update right now. According to base officials, that lockdown has been lifted. Again, the lockdown that's been underway there at the base since just after 12 o'clock has been lifted. Now, according to a Navy spokesperson, they just informed us that there was a credible report of a suspicious person possibly armed on base. Navy security forces and local law enforcement responded. They investigated. They did a sweep of the base, and they say there is no immediate threat at this time and no shots were fired. I know somebody asked on our Facebook page if anyone has been injured. At this point, no reports of any injuries. Again, this lockdown started just after noon today, and personnel on board were actually being told to seek shelter in the nearest building and activate a lockdown procedure and to remain indoors until further instructions. So at this point, the instructions that have been given to us is that lockdown has been lifted. There's still, of course, law enforcement in the area. They gathered law enforcement personnel from not only San Diego, but military personnel to look into this. The good news that lockdown has been lifted. No threats at this point. We are still trying to get some more information about this suspicious person that was reported, whether this was a false alarm, whether they took someone into custody. But at this point, they say there's no immediate threat and no shots were fired. We are continuing to get information just within the last few minutes. That's the update we're giving you. We do have some crews on the scene. So as soon as we get more, we will share that with you. But I just want to recap once again. If you've been following us here online at CBS8.com or on our News 8 San Diego app, we've been following this lockdown at Naval Base Point Loma in the North Harbor Drive and Landing Road area, where a lockdown on the base has been underway for about 90 minutes. No one was being allowed off. No one was being allowed on. And if people were on the base, they actually were told to stay in a building. We've just been informed the lockdown has been lifted. There is no immediate threat. And again, we will continue to keep you updated with the very latest details right here online.
I get it.
We have an update to some breaking news we brought you about an hour ago. Naval Base Point Loma had been on lockdown in the area of North Harbor Drive and Landing Row because of a suspicious person. That lockdown has been lifted. A Navy spokesperson just informed us there was a credible report of a suspicious person possibly armed on base. Navy security forces and local law enforcement responded. They investigated and they did a sweep of the base. They say there is no immediate threat at this time and no shots were fired. Again, that lockdown has been lifted. Heather Hope is standing by live. Heather, what can you tell us from out there on the scene?
Well, we do know that someone has been detained based on Naval Base Point Loma's Facebook page. They just posted that. The lockdown has been lifted. You can see that employees are able to go back inside, back to work. Some were stationed across the street, just waiting to see what would go on. Now you can see the gates open. Traffic's able to go in and outside the base, as that was not available when that lockdown first been placed about noon. Now this taking place right, like you said, the intersection. We're at Landing Road and North Harbor Drive. It was closed for nearly 2 hours as Naval Base. They went under the incident with the investigation. They're doing sweeps, but that has all since been lifted. We did hear from the Navy spokesperson, Brian O'Rourke, who sent the statement saying that the security forces and their local law enforcement, they investigated, they did a full sweep of the base. They went on to say no immediate threat at this time and no shots were fired, and that they do have who they thought was that suspicious person, they do have that person detained. And so far employees that were across the street waiting to get back to work, they were unsure of what was going on. Many grateful, taking a sigh of relief that they're able to go back to work now. And just back out here live, that is what we've seen out here. Folks were stationed at Liberty Station, walking around, many unsure of what was going on. They've been able to walk back, continue on with their routine, as that announcement has been made on the PA system 4 times since that lockdown has been lifted, that those on the base are able to resume their normal operational duties, that the lockdown has been lifted. We know this base is home to about 10,000 civilians, about 24,000 military personnel. I'll send it back to you, Shannon.
All right, thank you. That was our Heather Hope reporting. Again, the lockdown at Naval Base Point Loma has been lifted. Military personnel say that they have detained one person. We do not have information on who this person is or whether or not they had a weapon on them. You're looking at a live ground shot right now where business has resumed as normal on the base. There's still law enforcement in the area. But again, a lockdown at Naval Base Point Loma that had been underway since noon today, so about 2 hours, has just been lifted. We were told that there was a suspicious person seen on the base. Personnel did a full sweep. They apparently did detain one person. They say there is no immediate threat and no shots were fired. So at this point, there are no reports of any injuries. You can see vehicles leaving the base and heading into the base as well, as that lockdown has been lifted. Now, we will continue to, of course, follow this story. We will have crews stay out there on the scene. We will have updates right here on News 8 tonight at 5 o'clock. And you can also follow along with us on our website, that's CBS8.com, or you can download our News 8 San Diego app.